Hi there, Warriors, and welcome to a new live stream on the Uruguayan Heroes YouTube channel. And today we are gonna look back at another fascinating weekend with Uruguayans doing so well, like Valverde, like Canario, like Bentancur, Gaston Alvarez. We can name many names because the list is long, and that's great to see. We also gonna talk obviously about the international break, which has commenced today, and where in Uruguay will play their last two friendlies before the World Cup. Probably there was is still an opportunity that Uruguay can play a friendly in the build up to the World Cup in November, but it's unlikely. It's really unlikely to happen. So the games against Iran and then Canada will be probably the last pre-tournament, pre-World Cup friendlies. And yeah, I mean these are really exciting games because we will see obviously Alonso trying to prepare the team for the World Cup. Maybe try out some new players, some new systems, or some new tweaks and tactical modifications. So it will be interesting to see. And although we are missing some players like Jimenez, like Godin, like Cavani, like Coates as well, we still have a lot of talent and also new talent like Satriano, Agustin Rogel, Sebastian Cáceres, and even an older player who deserves his chance, in my opinion, which is Leandro Cabrera from Espanyol. So, having said all this, yeah, it's going to be a lot to talk about, and thank you for being here. And we will just start. I think I listed some things here, but I only think we can start at one place, and that is with Federico Valverde. He scored for the third game in a row. He scored in a Madrid derby. It wasn't a great goal. It was a close range shot after a rebound from Vinicius Junior. And Valverde finished and made it 2-0 to Atletico. Eventually it became 2-1. And Madrid, Real Madrid did manage to hang on to the lead and beat Atletico, winning all games in the season so far in both the Champions League and La Liga. And yeah, Madrid are just going from strength to strength. And one of the key players is Federico Valverde. Even if he's playing on right wing back, midfield, it doesn't matter. Because Valverde is what you would say a modern player. He's so dynamic and he can fill different roles at the same time. And that's what makes him so unique in world football as well. Obviously, there are more players like him, but few are as complete and as all round as him at this moment in time. And Valverde is just going from strength to strength, and I'm really looking forward to see him play in the sky blue again. Because at this moment in time, don't know what you're gonna get from Valverde. It can be even better because he just keeps surprising you with his performances. So yeah, the goal against Atletico was perhaps what you would say a worldie, but his goals against um, Leipzig, I think it is, and another team last weekend were brilliant goals. And I put this tweet out, and maybe it's a bit too much, I don't know. But yeah, it is really a blessing that Valverde was born in Uruguay and is Uruguayan and can represent Uruguay because he is quite an exceptional player, just 24 as well. So we still have a lot of years to enjoy with him. Another player I want to pick out before we going into some other performances is this man, Facundo Torres. He scored another goal on the weekend, um, and he has scored or he's given an assist or a goal 11 times in his last 11 appearances. And when you can say it's MLS, and that's true, it's not the Champions, not the Premier League, not a Liga or anything like this, but he's doing really well in his first season abroad. He's not being called up to the Uruguay squad this time around, and it's unlikely to see him in the World Cup squad, in my opinion. But I still want to highlight how good he has been this season. And this season will probably his last in the United States of America because he's just he's exceeding this level because he is a player who deserves to be in Europe. And I think he will go to Europe. And I think the future for him is still in the national team. It looks unlikely, like I said, that he will go to the World Cup for a variety of reasons. Alonso seems to prefer other players, but we still can highlight how good he has been because that is just the truth, in my opinion. So yeah. Um, oh, by the way, I thought I had added something which would show you tweet about Torres, but I didn't. So here it is again. What I was talking about: 11 goal or assists in his last 11 appearances. Yeah, the numbers are really good, and he scored 2 goals and gave an assist in the cup competition of the MLS. Of American football and the real football, I would say then. So yeah, it's no looking past his form in the last um, few weeks, few months. Another player I want to immediately highlight as well, and this is why I have this article, because it's nice to see that Gaston Alvarez, a young player, 22 years of age, playing for Getafe, still on loan from Boston River. Um, it's good to see that he is highlighted as well by the main media in Spain. Mundo Deportivo is obviously one of the main papers, and yes, they're talking here about how he has gone from somebody who didn't even get a chance in the first season at Getafe when he came in January last season, to a player that now, having only played 4 games for the club, is a key player in the defense, and that's interesting because it is true. He hasn't played in the first 6 months of his time at the club, and then this season, which also you can see here, this season, Getafe lost their 2 games. Fabrizio Anguilleri couldn't play, and he was made to go in as left back, as a makeshift left back, because the team at the moment didn't have opportunities on this position. And Gaston Alvarez, played a really good game against Villarreal, and he convinced basically the manager of his qualities, you would think. But the game after, he didn't play as well, or he didn't start. Then he came on. Valencia were absolutely murdering Getafe. I think it was 5-4-0 when he came on. He scored a goal, so he showed some face anyway. And in the games afterwards against Real Sociedad and Osasuna, which was the game on the weekend, he played both games from the start. They won both games. They were defensively far more solid, and Gaston Alvarez also got the second goal for Getafe against Osasuna. And yeah, it's just brilliant to see how he's doing. It's also, and like I said, nice to see him getting some praise here, and he's being highlighted here in Spanish press. That's what I like to see, and that's why I like to to give it some to show to you. Maybe you saw it as well. I don't know, but if not, then you see it there. But yeah, he's a young player, and he's really the comparison with Arajo is there because they both played for Boston River. Boston River, they both are kind of they look alike a little bit. They have the same height, I think, as well. Probably maybe Arajo is a little bit taller. But yeah, there are comparisons. But Alvarez is also maybe not on the same level. Let's be clear. Is also an aggressive player who gets into your face, who really wants to eat the attackers alive. He wants every piece of him, and he will make it his mission to eliminate his opponent. He is brave. He's brave. Sometimes he's a bit too eager, a bit too aggressive. That's a downfall, but it's something he can learn from. Obviously, he's a young player. He's good in the air, both in the opponent box and in his own box. And although the game of Getafe doesn't focus on this, he is okay on the ball. He can play decently. I've seen it. He certainly showed it for Boston River. So yeah, and a really exciting prospect, which we will follow this season. Flawless. Hi there. What's good, bro? All good there. Hopefully you are doing well as well, and thanks for being here. What do you think about the Quadras injury? To be quite honest, I haven't didn't look up what the severity of it was, but the fact that this hasn't come to my attention yet leads me to think that it is not major. So yeah, it's a shame that he's not there because for me, certainly with Jose Jimenez out and Godin not in the squad, he would have played. For me, certainly one game. Obviously, we are going to try not to rotate, but certainly give someone a chance, because otherwise, why would you call different players up? But yeah, it's a shame for him because he would have certainly started a game, maybe both games. And but yeah, that's the way it is. Coates is not the most lucky guy when it comes to getting opportunities for Uruguay. But yeah, I'm excited to see Arajo. Obviously, always excited to see him play. Leandro Cabrera, who I think is a really good player. Sebastian Cáceres, I believe I would have picked a different player. I would pick Bruno Mendes from Corinthians above Sebastian Caceres. But regardless, it's good to see a young player who also came through the ranks in the Uruguay national team, the youth national team, to see him get a chance. Agustin Rogel, similar. So yeah, many players to watch. Even though Coates would also be nice to see play, obviously. Okay, I wanted to go to the next Uruguayan who did remarkably well this weekend. Agustin Alvarez Martinez. We all know in 2021 he scored, I think it was 31, 32 goals. Anyway, it was a lot of goals in his first full year as a professional footballer. So he was really a shining light for Peñarol when they reached the semifinals of the Copa Sudamericana. And in 2022, the first part, he played for Peñarol still. Didn't do well, just didn't manage to score. He scored, I think, 1 or 2 goals in 15, 16 games, which is not a good statistic. But Peñarol were struggling as a whole, as a collective. So you can have some excuse for him. Regardless of this bad period, he went to Sassuolo in Italy for, I would believe, something like 11 or 12 million. And the chances he has been getting are really minimal. He's been playing 6-7 minutes off the bench. But one of these occasions, when he came on late on for only a few minutes, occurred this weekend. And even though the playing time was limited, he grabbed this opportunity. Hopefully, it can kickstart his career. At Sassuolo. It's not how do you say, worrying to see that he is not getting all the playing time as he's just adapting to life at a new club. But for sure, you always want to see Uruguayans playing because, yeah, I mean, that's just what you want as someone who's a fan of Uruguay, someone who follows all the players. So it's good to see. And this international break, he will not be, or he's not being selected. So he will be training at Sassuolo. Will be good for him as well. 2 weeks, just train, get even more in shape. And yeah, I certainly can see if he gets opportunities to reach him 10 goals, so double figures in his first season, which will be a good season. So yeah, good to see him get off the mark. Someone else who got off the mark and scored his first goal for new club. It's not really new because he's already been there since January. Is Rodrigo Bentancur, the Spurs midfielder, came over from Juventus. At Juventus, he had some great moments, some good seasons, and also some lesser seasons. Some seasons where he received a lot of criticism, sometimes, in my opinion, unfairly, but he did receive it. And also, to a certain extent, he deserved it because he was inconsistent, failed at big moments, and his nonchalance in his play really was something that was hurting him and Juventus. So he went to Spurs, as we all know, under Antonio Conte. And I think last season he did really well, helped them, was a big part of them reaching the Champions League. But this season he started on an even higher level. And the consistency with Bentancur, the intensity, the quality is up here at the moment. It's the best that I've can remember, or it is the best since, I would say, his second or third season for Juventus. Best since then. And now on the weekend when they were playing Leicester, he scored a goal and gave an assist. So then the alarm bells go off because that doesn't happen with Bentancur. He doesn't score. We know this. I think he scored 2 or 3 goals for Juventus in 5 seasons. So yeah, that was great to see. First one, and I haven't even got it here, but I will search it up. So first one, let's have a look. I'm sorry, I should have had it lined up, but anyway, I will look it up now. So the first one, I can remember it still, but is he robs the ball basically, and come on, please give me this goal. No, I'm not gonna get this goal. Okay, there we are. Yes. So no, we're not there. This is a mess. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I have to look it up now. Spurs Leicester. Let's go then. Okay, then we are doing it like this. So yeah, I think it's a 3-2. So it was a really interesting game. And then in the second half, Spurs really grabbed hold of the game. So here is the goal from Tottenham Hotspur, from Bentancur. Here with the recovery high up on the pitch, which also shows his intensity. and then but yeah, just want to show it really quickly. Bentancur getting a goal and assist, both from steals, from recovery of possession, which is obviously one of his main points, his strengths. But to be essential or how do you say, decisive in the attacking area of the pitch is not something you would expect from him, but he does it, and that's great to see. Great weekend for him. Bentancur scores, Valverde scores, midfield is on fire. Ugarte is playing really well. Torreira is also getting into his rhythm at Galatasaray, who are now, I don't think they are league leaders, but I think they're like second or third. So they're getting back to what you would expect from Gala, who obviously finished 10th last season and are not in Europe because of this in the current season. So yeah, that's great to see. Absolutely great to see. Another player I want to highlight, and let's go into maybe a picture from the account because I'm not going to look it up again and be made a fool. So a player who is playing in Brazil, who likes Alvarez Martinez, El Canario, is not getting the most playing time, not the playing time he would like. I would guess, but who is doing well because Miguel Merantio, the man we are talking about, played for Defensa y Justicia in Argentina up until a few months ago. Then he came to Palmeiras, who are the still the defending champions in the Copa Libertadores, but they are knocked out, so they will not retain their title, which they obviously won in the last two editions, which is absolutely massive. But he moved to Palmeiras, who are currently league leaders in the Brazilian league, and he's not gotten a lot of chances. But in the last two opportunities he got from the bench in the Brasileiro, he scored on both occasions, and this one was a really beautiful goal, acrobatic overhead kick to win the game for Palmeiras. So yeah, just want to highlight this. Another player who is being associated with the national team at this moment in time, which also says a lot about the quality we currently have in our attacking positions. But yeah, player who is just a good player who works hard and who's really been on fire in South America in a couple of past two seasons, but certainly this season in 2022 in the whole. So yeah, really good to see this. Okay, let's move on to another one I got named there. I got written down here, which is Cavani, Elviso Cavani. How can I forget? So Cavani, who has had a really bad season because he didn't play a lot, and when he played, he wasn't that impactful. A really bad season for Manchester United last time around. Now he has gone to Valencia in one of the last days of the transfer market. He's getting up to fitness. So I was expecting anyway that he wouldn't even start on this weekend, but he did. He started for Valencia in a 3-0 win. Didn't score, but what I've heard, I didn't watch the game. I had to work, unfortunately, that he did okay. Maybe lacking, I would like to say, some sharpness in front of goal. But yeah, it will get there with Cavani, but it's good to see him back playing. That's what it's all about. So let's have a look at a comment from Farid Haji. Thanks, man, for being here. And the same goes for Jorge Cepero. Thank you guys for being here. And Farid says, looking forward to seeing the starting formation for the initial friendly and how or if it evolves during the match. Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see how Alonso will approach this. We can have a look, by the way, at the schedule of this week or these 2 weeks to have a good look at how we will fare. So yeah, training for the upcoming couple of days, which is really good in Austria, in Vienna, and then Uruguay versus Iran in Austria. Then another 3 days of training, and then in Slovakia, the game against Canada. So yeah, I just wanted to have this up there for you to see. Probably, maybe you have already seen this, but yeah, that is the schedule as we know it now. But it will be interesting to see how we are gonna play. If there are some hints as to how we are gonna line up in the World Cup as well, and also it will be interesting to see the comments of Alonso as the World Cup approaches, because yeah, I mean, it's decision time basically. For certain positions, the decisions are not clear. There are many players who you would say are capable or are competent of filling that role, but Alonso is eventually the one who has to make the decisions. So that will be interesting. Um, yes, so that will be interesting to see. Let's have a look. I'm just on Twitter saying that we are live for the people who might not have seen this. So yeah, that will be really interesting indeed, Farid. So we will see. Jorge, hey David, hope you're doing good. I'm doing okay, Jorge. Thank you. Hope you are doing well as well, man. Valverde's reputation has grown so fast this season. Yeah, that's right. I mean, last season in the Champions League run, which Madrid had, the key players or the key players is the wrong word, but the poster boys, as maybe you can call it, the eye catchers, the one that were grabbing the headlines, were obviously Benzema, Rodrigo, um, Modric, Courtois. Valverde was just a a quiet force, a quiet workhorse, someone who tied things together, who was important for the balance between attack and defense. But he wasn't someone that that would be on the headlines, that would be in front of Sport AS, all these big newspapers in Spain. So yeah, and this season it's different, obviously, because Valverde was still having this role in the team as being so important in the balance that he gives to them. Um, he is coming up with the goods, scoring goals, assists, and not minor ones. I mean, goals that matter. Not a goal when it's 4-0 and he makes the fifth. Goals that matter at big moments, and yeah, that's obviously helping him, his reputation, to grow, and that's great to see. That's really great to see because. Yes, I mean, for Valverde, you run out a little bit out of things to say because you just love him so much and love to see that he's doing well, or I do anyway, but I'm sure you do as well. Um, that you're just looking forward to the next game, what he can bring us. And obviously, he will not keep this rate of goal scoring or assists up for the whole season because we also have to understand the role that he has in the team. But Valverde, as he goes right now, as he's doing right now, certainly will hit 10 goals, double figures in goals this season. And that would also be something that you can expect from him if he keeps the development like this, because he's a brilliant player with a really good sense of finishing and with a rocket in his foot. And he has to use this. He has to utilize this. Like Ancelotti said, he said, if he doesn't score 10 goals this season, I will rip up or I will throw away my coaching badges because it's unbelievable, a player with this shooting ability that do not have this, do not reach this. So yeah, hopefully he can, but I'm sure he will. Okay. Another thing I wanted to touch is a little bit of talk about um, this Facundo Toros I touched on earlier. So he is not in the squad. David Terrans is not in the squad, and these are obviously players who this year have done really well in America and Brazil respectively. And then you have two players like Agustin Canobio, playing also in Brazil, a teammate of Terence at Atlético Paranense, and Brian Ocampo from Nacional and now in Cadiz. And these two players are there. Now, if we are talking here and if we are saying which player do we prefer over the other, some might say Ocampo, some might say Torres, but overall, there wouldn't be a lot between it. And even based on his current season, you would probably lean to Facundo Torres and David Terans. But still, the reality says that they are not there, and Canobio and Ocampo are there. And what it says to me, I think, is that, and I've had discussions and I've seen people talk about this on Twitter as well, is that it's a clear preference in certain characteristics, which the kind of player that Canobio and Ocampo are bring to the table. Facundo Torres and Terans are more, I would say, more like dreamers on the pitch in the sense that they are inventors, creators, and they are brilliant players. Let's get that clear. But I think Diego Alonso is looking for wingers with really base to go in behind to stretch defenses and with an excellent work rate of pressing. And that is, I think, Canobio for sure is a workhorse on the right, with really good qualities to go in behind and to deliver a cross or make something, do something himself. And I'm not saying Torres or Terans don't have it at all, but Canobio and Ocampo are more in the line of Facundo Palistri, these type of wingers, which obviously Alonso prefers a lot. Um, so yeah, that's what I would think about it. Facundo Torres should not be written off at all, obviously, because that would be wrong. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on this and let me know your opinion on this matter. Do you think Facundo Torres should be on there, or do you maybe don't do you maybe not agree with the statement I made about the logic behind Torres not going and Ocampo and Akonobio going in this international break? Let me know. Let me know, please. So yeah, another thing, Diego Godin. Let's touch on it a little bit. He's not there. Came back or he's back from injury, according to the reports. Not played for Vélez Sarsfield yet, but he's back from his injury. But probably, yeah, still a little bit getting back to full fitness. So it's a good decision that he's not there, in my opinion, anyway. And yeah, so at least like I said, at least Godin not being there, Coates not being there, Jimenez not being there, even though it's not nice, it brings opportunities for players who can be interesting for Uruguay, not only today but also in the future. So yeah, let's see about that. Okay, let's have a look at another comment from Jorge Cepero. What do you think Alonso sees in Ocampo? Well, yeah, I think he sees. I don't say similar or he's completely the same as Pelistri, but I see him as a bit of a more old school right winger, um, who with his pace and also his trickery can be a really effective player to beat opponents. But also besides that, with player with a lot of pace who can stretch the field, which is really what we want and what we have missed for the last few years at Uruguay, is players who really create space for our midfielders like Darasqueta to invent, to create. So yeah, I see Ocampo in a similar profile as Palistri, and that is a profile which Alonso just likes or he loves anyway, because this is what he prefers. Um, Farid says, joke question, but also important. Did the team chef travel with the team on this trip? Well, I would believe so. Yeah, I would believe so. I think. Um, I mean, what I like about Alonso's staff is that it's a bit more. How do you say? I'm not discrediting the staff of Tabares, which obviously had some good professionals, but you would say that Alonso is a bit more professional in who he takes with him. Certainly, what I've read about him, the physiologist, who I think his name is Guillermo Rodriguez, but I might be wrong, um, has a really good background, and it's good that he is here. And Oscar Ortega, El Profe, hopefully he can be at the World Cup, but it's obviously big reputation, and it's good that he's there. So these are professionals, and it is important, obviously, that you have this because although they brought things to the table, how do you say, Celeste Ortero, Mario Rebollo, you can go on. These were there, but I was always wondering what are they adding actually to Tavares, because it felt like Tavares was there and they were basically his his accomplices or his right man or his helpers, but did they actually bring anything to the table? I still really doubt that. But okay, maybe I'm a bit pessimistic on this aspect. Flores says, I think that if Canobio and Ocampo are in the squad, then Torres should absolutely be part of the squad too. And I would agree in this discussion. But like I said, I think it's a matter of characteristics, which in the eyes of Diego Alonso, Torres misses and Ocampo and Canobio have. And I would say that this is the reason why the former two are not there and Torres or are there. I mean, and Torres is not. But it um, might be a mistake on my part, but that's just what I presume. Yeah. Farid says Ocampo is a great talent, and Alonso is likely wanting to see how he does during training and during a match. Maybe he already knows what he'd get from Facundo. That's quite an intelligent way to look at it, because that could be true as well. I mean, there are players who Alonso will have there will have his mind made up on, who although they might deserve, but who it would not serve for a big purpose to have them now and see them play, while there are other players out there he would prefer to see because he's not sure on them yet. So there could be truth in this. We will have to wait and see. So yeah, that's we have to wait to see, and it's. I mean, the squad is made, so we will see about it, and we will see if some players who he's chosen perform or do not perform. At the end of the day, Alonso, as we all know, is not someone who is feeding things to the press and who lets the press get a hold of anything basically. So we are a bit in the dark as to Alonso's mind and logic behind his decisions. We just have to wait till he speaks up about it himself. And when the final squad for World Cup comes out, then we know for sure what he prefers. Maybe Facundo Torres will be there. We will see. I don't think he will be there, but that's just my thoughts, which can absolutely be false. So and so Yachi, thank you for the comment, man. He says, "What would be your starting 11 for the World Cup?" Yeah, that's a tough one. I would say. I think last stream we was talking about this as well. I'm not sure on the formation yet, and I'm also struggling with certain positions in who I prefer at this moment. But let's say we are talking about a classic 4-3-3. Then I would play as following, and let's say the first game, South Korea. I'm pretty sure South Korea is the first game. I would then play with Rochette in goal, right back, or Damian Suarez or Varela. I'm not sure on this yet, but I would probably go to Varela because of the threat Heung-min Son offers. And Damian is a good fullback, but physically he's not as he was a few years ago. Then I would in the central pairing will be Araujo, and at this moment in time, with how this current season is going, Coates, because Jimenez has played I think 1 or 2 games, and I mean it's a hard one to say. It's a hard decision to make, but at the moment I would lean to Coates. Left back is Matias Oliveira, central defensive midfielder. Another big choice, which I'm not sure on yet. But I would probably also, based on the current moment the players are living, say Manuel Ugarte. But that is just what I'm saying right now. In 2 weeks, in 2 months, it could be upside down. I mean that's the way football goes. I mean, in the 80th minute, Manchester City were already booking their flights to the final of the Champions League, and then 12 minutes later, 40 minutes later, or I would no extra time obviously, but like 30 minutes later, Madrid were in the final once again. So that's football, and yeah. So my opinion is only something worth today. Tomorrow it might be worth nothing because that's how football is. Changes really fast. We all know this. But okay, Ugarte will be central defensive midfielder. Then I would play with Bentancur, Valverde, and Bentancur probably more as a second controller next to Ugarte, but more like less responsibility, or less burdened by the defensive tasks that Ugarte will take instead. But still, obviously, providing more control, and Valverde being the most attacking midfielder. Bit of a free role, to be honest. Then I would play from the left, George De Rascaeta, as more of an inverted winger with more freedom to create, which also leaves the opportunity for Matias Oliveira to be an overlapping fullback. So yeah, De Rascaeta playing from the left, but probably also operating mainly as a number 10. In the striker position, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. And I would still say to Luis Suarez at this moment in time. And maybe when Darwin starts scoring, starts settling in, you cannot like look past him. But I would still say Suarez for this opening game against South Korea. You have to realize I'm talking about this specific game, because every game provides different challenges and also players who suit this game more. than others. So this specific game against South Korea, opening game, will be Suarez. On the right, as it looks right now, it's kind of nonsensical for me to look past Pelistri because we know how much Diego Alonso trusts him, loves him, and appreciates and rates him. That I would say Facundo Pelistri is probably a lock-in for this spot, bearing any injuries. I wouldn't say he is head and shoulders above anyone on this position because that's just not true. But he seems like the number one possibility or number one candidate for this position. And to be honest, looking back at the team, I'm pleased with that. I'm okay with this, and I think it's a good team, balanced team. So yeah, I really like that. Let's have a look. A comment from Bern Roddy. He also scored against South Korea already. Talking about Suarez back in 2010. Yeah, and I mean 2 times even. And the second one was an all-timer. I mean, obviously we're talking about the last 16, but the celebration in the rain, that is just 30 or 40 seconds of video material that will never be erased from my mind. That was brilliant. So yeah, it would be nice. I mean, wouldn't it be absolutely marvelous to see Suarez start the World Cup with, let's say, 2 goals against South Korea, takes over Miguez as the all-time top scorer at the World Cup for Uruguay. So that would be just perfect. So yeah, we will see. I mean, Suarez, Darwin, Cavani, Satriano. Some players are better than others. We all know this, but they are all quality options that we also have to realize. So whether Suarez starts, Cavani starts, or Darwin starts, um, it's like picking between three of your most favorite chocolate bars. It's not like you have to leave a really nasty one which you don't like out. Or I mean, they're all delicious. If maybe it's a really bad analogy, but you get what I mean. Hopefully, so yeah. Jorge Cepero says, I think Alonso will play with Suarez and Cavani from the beginning against Korea. That could be the case. We don't know. I don't. I personally wouldn't like it, to be honest, because I don't think. I think you can play with 2 strikers, but it has to be a certain profile. I think Darwin can play from the wing a little bit because he is more, certainly in the current state, he is more mobile, quick, can get in behind, works like an absolute maniac. And then Suarez or Cavani in number 9 position would be interesting. But Suarez Cavani is a 2 number 9s. I think we are limiting our team a little bit too much in these days, in the current state they are in. Because we all know they are not what they used to be. Still brilliant and still able to make the difference on the world stage. But yeah, but we will see about this. Maybe you're right, Jorge, and maybe this will happen, and maybe they will score two hits. In which case, I cannot say anything. So that's okay. Santiago Macariz says, "I feel like we have a solid squad. I see ourselves lifting the World Cup. That's a good way to start the week here. I mean, that's really a good way. And you know what? I believe in it as well. I'm not saying it's the most. It's gonna happen. I'm not saying we are the favorites." But I believe in it as well, because otherwise, why would you start a tournament? Why would you go to a tournament in which you don't believe that you can win the bloody thing? That would be just stupid. Certainly when you are a footballing country as big and as prestigious as Uruguay, and certainly when you have players like we have. I mean, we have to remember, we have a really good squad at this moment in time. It's in terms of quantity and quality, it's the best that there has been in my lifetime, and or that's what I believe anyway. And some teams might have had a better spirit, like for example the one in 2010, or some teams had maybe a better star player like Suarez in 2014. But yeah, it's a really good squad, like Santiago says. So we have no reason to fear anyone. So yeah, I'm also confident that we can do well, and yeah. So yeah, let's just see. A16 says hi. Hi there, good to see you here, and also good to see anyone who is here. And please let me know your thoughts on the current international break or upcoming international break, the games. Um, yeah, let me know your thoughts on the weekend. Any player you would like to highlight? We just went over some players, but if you want to highlight anyone or anything, just name it because we can discuss it. And also, who are you looking forward to the most in this current international break? Which player do you want to see? Is it a player who is already there, a star maybe like Valverde, or maybe someone like Satriano or Augusto Rogel? What is the thing that you're looking most forward to in the upcoming games? I would like to know. Okay, let's have a look. Jorge says, "Are you going to one of the games? I've heard Vienna is really beautiful. You know what? I was in My intention was to go, and I wanted to go, but I'm not, and that's a shame because at the moment I'm in like a really important period for my school, and I really cannot miss a weekend of having of deadlines or things I have to do, because time is a little bit running out for me and my school in terms of having to finish it. So that's why I decided not to go, which is a shame. But I will be certainly soon in the upcoming years. Hopefully, I will certainly be at the game in Uruguay or from Uruguay abroad. That will certainly happen. And to be honest, someone of that I forgot the account name now. I'm sorry, but a brilliant guy who's doing basically what I do or try to do for the Iran national team on Twitter. He has a podcast, and I was invited on this yesterday, and he is going to the game, and he has a media pass, so he will try to get to talk to Uruguay international, get some words. So hopefully this will happen. Might not happen, but anyway, it would be nice to see this, and then you can see this as well, hopefully. So yeah, he's going. I'm not, unfortunately, but yeah, soon, very soon. A16, what would you do if we win the World Cup? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know, but I was thinking about something like this, and I probably get a tattoo of it. I don't know, a small thing, but something, because that would just be just unique and brilliant, and something that we all love. Obviously, that would be like the pinnacle of everything, basically, when it comes to football in Uruguay. So yeah, but let's keep it like game to game, partido a partido, like Simeone said in the title run from Suarez Atletico, partido a partido, and let's see how far we come. Jorge Cepero says, I think Uruguay has a better midfield than Argentina right now. I don't think it's controversial to say that. No, I don't think it's controversial to say it. I mean, Argentinians will say it to you, and they will disagree with you, because also they do have a really good midfield with the likes of Rodrigo De Paul, Leandro Paredes, Lo Celso. But I think you can really make a case for Uruguay being better or on the same level, for sure. I think they are both good midfields. To be honest, I'm not really sure which one is better, but I don't really care, to be honest, which one is better. I like ours better. That's what I prefer. That's what I look at it. When I look at the players we have in midfield, I'm really glad, and that's what it's all about. So yeah. Um, House of Care says Facundo Torres deserves to go to the World Cup. He's more deserving than Ocampo, I'd say. And I think, yeah, that's your opinion, and I wouldn't disagree with it, to be honest. Um, because Torres has had a better season or a better last few months than Ocampo. But like we said before in the stream, I think different in the characteristics both players have, and Ocampo is more of a profile which Alonso likes. Which might be a bit unfair, but a manager has his idea, his philosophy, his preferences, and this will sometimes lead to decisions which are not the most popular, which Facundo Torres' exclusion certainly was not. Um, but yeah, we will see. Maybe he will be there in the final squad, maybe not. Anyway, Facundo Torres is doing exceptionally well at Orlando. I'm not sure if you're an Orlando fan or if you're just a follower of Facundo Torres, maybe Peñarol fan, or anyway. But whatever whatever team you support or whatever affinity you have with Torres, I really get your point, and I agree with it. But yeah, it's not much we can do about it now. It's happened, and Torres has to focus on his career, continue playing like he does, and he will have a good career, not only in the club level, but if he keeps doing like this, he will certainly be in the national team. I have no doubt about this. So yeah. And so Yassi says, do you agree that this team of Uruguay is the best? Is the best of the last World Cup edition? So I think you mean that if this team of Uruguay is better than last World Cup edition, and it's a good question for sure, and I think it is. Yeah, I think it is because what you have to remember is that although Uruguay's campaign in the last World Cup was really highly lauded by the media back in Uruguay, which I kind of disagree with, to be honest. Um, because yeah, we reached the quarterfinals, lost to the eventual world champions. You couldn't say it's a bad campaign, but you cannot champion it as like a brilliant campaign, saying that we are the best team of South America in this World Cup, fifth of the World Cup. That's just bullshit, in my opinion. But getting back to your question, I think it's better because the World Cup we had, um, 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 it was. I mean, we can go over game from game quickly. Saudi or Egypt, the first game, we didn't play well. We won it late on. We should have won, obviously, because Suarez missed some chances, so it was a deserved win. Second game, Saudi Arabia, we didn't play well. We didn't play well. We won 6 points in two games. Last game against Russia, we won more convincingly, played better. We won as group leaders. Then we came up against Portugal, and we just delivered the Gara Charua performance, really a fighting performance, where the brilliance of Cavani and the commitment and the sacrifice of the team were uh, the key factors in us beating Portugal. And then we lost to France in what was a game which was we were never really in the game, to be honest. And if you look at this as a whole, then you see the game as against Portugal as good, as magnificent. But it's one game, one game. Russia is the team we should beat. Saudi Arabia and Egypt, we didn't really play well, but we won. So it wasn't that most impressive campaign. It was Cavani was really doing quite remarkably well. Godini was playing brilliantly, but the team overall was certainly not at the quality of the current team, and not only in the first 11 but also in the depth. I mean, we had Christian Rodriguez coming on in against France, who was like back then like 32 already, and who was lost his way, not what he used to be. Stuani played against France. Oh, sorry. So Cavani played against France because Cavani, or sorry, Stuani played against France because Cavani was out. I mean, things like this. The quantity uh, combined with the quality was not at the same level as we have it right now. So I would say, yeah, Uruguay is in a better position than we were last World Cup. Many comments flying in now, and thank you guys or girls for doing this. Appreciate it. Um, Horacio says, "How can we beat the Brazilian squad after classifying from the group stages?" Well, one of the things we have to do, or we have to try to do, is finish as the group leaders, which I would think would avoid Brazil, because Brazil will probably finish first in their group. But yeah, other than that, we will have to see. We have to focus first on the group stage, and then we will see who we will face. And if we are good, if we are in a good way, then there's no reason Uruguay cannot win against big team like Brazil. I know it's been a few years now since we have done this, but Uruguay is really good at picking the right moments to have an upset, to have a shock. So yeah, I don't worry about that, to be honest, at this moment in time. It's a matter who fits where. Talking probably about still the Ocampo, Canobio, Torres discussion, and yeah, that's true. It's really true. Um, yeah, if the game plan works in that way. No, and that's what's interesting about this current international break. We will find out, I think, quite a lot about Alonso and his intentions with this team. Obviously, we also already have some clues and an inclination as to how this is how things are developing, but yes, we will see. Burn Roddy says, we are the most difficult group we could get to, as all have beef versus Uruguay. My fate is that we do well at groups of death. Yeah, I'm not bothered about it as well, because that's like you said, or like you were saying, my fate is that we do well at the groups of death. That's historically is the case with Uruguay. That yeah, that how higher the higher the stakes, better the response from Uruguay. Mostly, not always, obviously, but mostly that is the case. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about this, to be honest. So yeah. My tea is completely cold. I'm not sure why I'm drinking it still, but anyway, it's a shame. So let's go into another comment. Farid says, I wonder why Terans hasn't been called up or Piqueres again. But again, it's about positioning needs and formation strategy. Well, Terans, we went over this a little bit, but Piqueres, I also don't know because Piqueres, he is you can have certain opinion about him as a player, and I'm not the biggest fan. But Piqueres is actually playing now regularly for Palmeiras, who are one of the best teams in South America. Matias Vinha, he has played one half of football in this whole season, and he's there. And that's what I don't get. That's what I don't get. And Vinha is not so much different in a profile than Piqueres or Espino from Cadiz. And also, I would say Espino for sure is a better left back than Matias Vinha. But that is Alonso with performances, and that's the way it is. I'm not sure what to say about this, but I'm agree with the surprise you have as well, because I don't understand this as well. House of Scares says, who should be the most afraid? Who should we be the most afraid of in groups? I'd argue that South Korea could be more of a challenge than Portugal in a weird way, and Ghana will be very angry with us and come out fighting. Um, to be honest, the thing you're saying about South Korea being a bigger challenge than Portugal, I see where you're getting from, because obviously South Korea will probably leave the initiative to Uruguay, which will make us theoretically a bit vulnerable on the break against Heung-min Son. And South Korea is a team that is historically anyway in the World Cups I've seen, which is quite organized. Who work their socks off. Absolutely, they work their socks off. Are physically in a really good state. Who can give you a hard game? Portugal in is a team which, I mean, when you're talking about individual ability, it's country miles ahead of South Korea. But Portugal is led by Fernando Santos, who is a lucky man to be in a job, who in his years there has still failed to really get this team playing any type of football sustainably over a period of time, which is good on the eye but also effective. Um, so yeah, Portugal is far from their potential in what they have shown in the last few years, despite winning the Euros in 2016. So yeah, Portugal is a team which is not posing the most threat to me as well, but it still is Portugal. So, and Ghana is Ghana as well, and Ghana and Uruguay is yeah. Bern Roddy says Ghana is the toughest. I mean, Ghana Uruguay is just. I mean, we can talk a whole stream about this. And please, if I introduce or welcome a guest on this show who is Ghanaian, he will go on for 16 hours because it's 12 years ago. But every time when they sleep, they think about it. It's Suarez is living rent free in all Ghanaians' heads. That's really really quite something. But yeah, will be interesting when we face them for sure. Um, Regarding Anso's question, every 4 years since 2002, it's been better and better. Team. Even 2006 was a great team with the talent on the team. Yeah, I think yeah, I've certainly what I agree with is that since 2010, I would say the quality of the squad has improved. Maybe 2010 and 2014, you could say similar or maybe less even for some, but overall it's 2014 to 2018 to 2022. It's been better and better, and certainly when you look at the quantity of players who are at a good level. I mean, in depth, Uruguay are at the best in the best way that Uruguay have been in my lifetime. So that's just it. I think for me that's basically a fact. I think we can all admit or recognize this. So that's really something that's positive a lot. Um, as A16, if we talk about names, I would say this team is even a bit better than the one in 2010, and I think you would be absolutely right. Absolutely, yeah, I agree 100%. Ghana is toughest, says Bern Rodi first, and now he says very physical. That's for sure. With some new players who have chosen Ghana as well. So it will not be an easy match. No match will be this in a World Cup. But if we want to be anything or be a candidate in a World Cup, we will have to beat Ghana. That's the way it is. Farid, 2014, we never know what would have happened if the suspension didn't happen. Farid, I couldn't agree more. Certainly in the aftermath of this World Cup, and certainly also a couple of years later, I found myself sometimes debating with friends on the couch that if Suarez wasn't injured, or I mean didn't do his bite. I mean, he injured someone with a bite, but no, didn't do his bite. Um, you never know what could have happened with Uruguay. You would have faced Colombia, who was doing really well, but Suarez at this moment in time was the best striker on the planet, one of the best players on the planet, and he was in sensational form. Um, so I would believe that we would have gone past Colombia. Then you're going to the World Cup quarterfinals. Brazil. We all know they went to the semifinals, but Brazil were a car crash waiting to happen, and it happened. And Brazil playing against Uruguay at the World Cup and their own home soil. That's like the nightmare of every Brazilian, because the history, we all know about this. We all know about this, and certainly with a player of Suarez's quality at that moment of time, and with a Uruguay, which was, I mean, not in quality maybe the best, but that was a team. That was a team, really a team. And then you are in the semifinals, hypothetically. So who knows? I also believe this, Farid. I really do so. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened, unfortunately. So yeah, we are only left with what could have been. Yeah, 2018. I also think it's a matter of mindset. If you're facing France and calling them an elite team, and that we don't have the resources, then you lose. I'm not sure I remember the quotes correctly, but you're probably right. I mean, maybe the approach was more like David against Goliath, and yeah, Uruguay is an underdog historically, but no, it's not. It's not David. It's a bit more. I'm David, but no. But I mean, no, Uruguay's bigger than just an underdog. So yeah, and that's also one of the reasons why Tavares fell out of favor with the fans, including with me, is the way he portrayed Uruguay on the world stage, which was really less, well, making us smaller, to yeah, to enhance his own picture, his own narrative, so that his failures were put into context, but his failures were clear, and that's the reason why he's gone. And that's not meant in a nasty way, but that's the reality for me. um Joaquin Schneeberger says that this team has better subs than 2018. Absolutely, yeah, you're completely right. I mean, yeah, just look at the bench now. Even just you can just look at the bench in the coming match, even with players missing out, and look at the bench and the players we have there. When you compare them to, for example, that game against Portugal, and look at the bench options, then you can clearly see the improvement. We all know this, and yeah, and it's great to see. Yeah. Also, the guys look tired in the France match. Yeah, I mean, Torreira looked a bit tired. I remember, by the way, in this game, but yeah, was never happening from the first minute. You could feel it a little bit. Um, yeah, Jorge, I'm with you. I always think that Uruguay would have beaten Colombia in the Maracana if Suarez was playing. Yeah, going to a complete other game. Picares fucked up bad for Argentina. Yeah, but to be honest, a lot of players did in this game. Let's be honest now. But yeah, you're right. Um, Joaquin says it's also about the dressing room. Dressing room players like Fina and Sebastian Sosa seems to be very important. Well, I'm not sure with them two, but the reason that Cáceres is there is because of this. Because Cáceres is obviously a player that's been there for many years and who is a popular guy in the dressing room. But okay, I know this is important, but football should lead decisions. So the football should lead decisions of players to choose players or to exclude players. And for me, Cáceres has no place in the national team, but still he's there. And yeah, Alonso believes he's important in some way or another, and that might be the dressing room. Yeah, you probably are right. Um, Danny F, good to see you here, man, says the reason Facu Torres ain't there is because Facundo Torres isn't direct enough for the right wing like Rossi or Palestri. One play on the left wing with Arrasqueta and De La Cruz there. It's an interesting explanation of why he's not there. And I'm not. I don't think you are far off it. I mean, it's the different types of profile that Alonso likes on the wing. And the right wing seems to be the wing that Torre or that Alonso sees as the pure winger in our team, because the left with Arasqueta, like Danny also says, is more like an inverted winger playing as a creative midfielder or creative attacker, and then the overlap from Matias Oliveira. Um, so yeah, it's Facundo Torres, as you can see through the chats, is a topic of discussion, because he is really someone who, yeah, you could argue should be there. But yeah, Alonso will have his reasons, and maybe or probably he will even talk about them this week. So then we will have more clarity, maybe. If House of Scare says, if we make it to the quarters through the best possible route, would it be better to get Spain or Germany, in your opinion? I'd say Germany. At that level, no game is easy, but Germany are a bit lesser. To be quite honest, I would say Spain, because I don't trust this Spain team. Um, to be really consistent and bang on it this whole tournament. And I think Germany, even though Germany might not be at the level they were in 2014, I don't never would like to face Germany in a tournament. These are killers. These are really tournament animals. So yeah, I would say Spain. Danny F says, they also said on Channel 12 he cares more about characteristics of a player rather than stats. He wants his right wingers to be direct and his left wingers to be inverted. Yes, no, I read this quotes from this interview. So yeah, that's certainly one of the things that weighs in his decision. Um, but yeah, no, it's the way it is. Jorge says that Ghana will take the L. Hopefully so, man. Will be nice. Will be nice. Then they will maybe leave us alone, leave my mentions alone on Twitter, because every day or every now and then they will come up and talk bad about Suarez or Uruguay, because they still have this grudge over the game. Every man then says, are Uruguay both too old and too young to win big at this World Cup? To be honest, that's a really good question, because you are right that in certain areas and with certain players, they are past their peak. And certain players are, although they are at a good level, still have some years left to reach their absolute peak. Maybe like Ugarte or even like Oliveira, who I think still has a level or two that he can go to. So perhaps we will see the World Cup, but that's interesting, and certainly that could be the case. But yeah, I still think we have a squad good enough to challenge and do really well at the World Cup. Jorge says, people are saying the 2026 team will be even better than this one because all the young players will be in their prime. Yes, and I saw Nauel Bo, who you probably all know, probably, or in my opinion anyway, the best Twitter account on Uruguayan football. He talked about, or had a thread in which he named all the players or the main names, and how old they will be in 2026. And you see a team or a national pool we can choose from with a lot of quality, and are they at a good age to perform and to make it big in a tournament. So yeah, it could be the case. The future looks bright for sure. That's true. And Joaquin would probably answering the question of every man Dan. No, that's true. It could be a good mix. Time will prove the reality. We will know when we see them play and when we see how we will do in the tournament. But I certainly get the question, but I also get the reply from Joaquin. But it's an interesting way to look at it, because it's true that we have some seasoned veterans who might be past their prime days, and we have some players who are still a little bit before their peak days. And Valverde is probably someone who is now entering his prime, who is the new star of this team. And can he take this role on in the World Cup? Can he? We will see. We will see. Or maybe Cavani will come back as a prime Cavani for a tournament and set the world on fire. You never know. We can just only see. Bern Roddy says, I agree with Germany because we beat them in 1924, but we've never beaten Spain at the top level. Never, ever. No, that might be true, but if you look through history, certainly, yeah, there are occasions when teams faced each other. But for example, I remember that Uruguay played in the 1990 I think it's the 1990 World Cup against Spain, and Ruben Sosa missed a big penalty. Maybe if they're not true, please correct me, but I think it is. So yeah, you have these experiences, but it's different now, and I think Spain is different now, for example, than what they were on their prime. And I'm really confident about our team and our chances against Spain in a hypothetical matchup. So yeah, let me go a little bit quicker to the comments because we are already over the 1 hour mark, and I love this. I love doing this, believe me. But I'm also going to sleep in a little bit because unfortunately school is still going on, and that's a shame, but it's the way it is. House of Scare says, I don't think we are too old, too young or old. We are very balanced, but with players in their primes, some are older, some younger. I would say that 2026 is our year. Um, yeah, I think it's a good sum up. And by the way, um, 2026 could be our year, but yeah, let's focus on 2022 first because I think we are good enough to really do well. Ken Johnson, hi Kent, good to see you here, man. Thank you for being here. Like anyone else, by the way. And if you are not, if you have not already, please like the video and subscribe. Would help me out a lot. I think we have already crossed 800 subscribers, which is amazing. Um, so yeah, thank you. Please like the video. That will be great. Ken says, David, do you think Araujo should play in the middle or the right? I realize that the middle causes a jam with Coates and Jimenez available. I could go either way myself. It's a good question because that's a really topic of discussion coming into the World Cup. I would say Araujo as the right back in big games against the likes of Vinicius Junior, Mbappe, Rafa Leao. I would go with Araujo, but when we are playing against South Korea, Ghana, all respect to them, by the way, I would prefer with Araujo in the center and Damian Suarez or Guillermo Varela in the right back position. Danny F says Federico Valverde should have went to Russia over Cebolla Rodriguez. Yeah, I agree with you, to be honest. Well, yeah, maestro. Enzo Yassi says also I think about the match. Also, if we think about the match against Ghana, the play of the hand of Suarez was an offside. So if they call it an offside in the semifinals with Suarez, it would have been another history. Yeah, I mean, there are many things to look at this incident. Also, the free kick, which resulted eventually in this penalty in the sending of Suarez with the handball, wasn't a free kick. So yeah, I mean, yeah, let it. We are letting it go. It's okay. Danny F says Spain have no striker. I'd rather play them than no Germany. Yeah, Morata's doing well now, but yeah, I'm not really someone of elite quality for sure. But I would also prefer Spain. Guyuli Imperiale, hopefully pronounced that right. Beautiful name, by the way. Off topic, but is anybody of you in Vienna right now? Uh, I was at the training today and need some Uruguayan backup, so I'm not the only one here. Haha. Okay, that's great. You are in Vienna to watch Uruguay or yeah, anyway to support the team and to go to the trainings. That's great. Well, hopefully someone can react there. And by the way, Yuli, if if you send me a message on Twitter, then I will, because I'm not sure what your Twitter handle is, I will make sure to tweet out about you, that you're in Vienna and that you're looking for Uruguayans also there and that you can enjoy it together. So, yeah, please send me a message and I would love to help you out then. Yeah. Jorge says, like you said, Uruguay shouldn't celebrate quarterfinals appearances of the World Cup. You are Uruguay. Yes, no, yeah, Jorge. I think we are on the same wavelength in this aspect. Uruguay shouldn't celebrate that. No, that would be a shame. Um, Jorge says a Uruguay Germany World Cup match would be awesome. Uruguay has never beaten Germany at the World Cup. Lost in '66, in '70, and 2010. Yeah, I mean, and the history also dictates that we are not doing well against Germany. But history is that to be changed. I think when Uruguay went into the 2014 World Cup, they had not beaten European opposition at the World Cup in 50 years, and then we beat two. So yeah, I mean, history is there to be broken. Statistics are there to be changed, or however you wanna say it. So yeah, that's okay. Um, Burn Ruddy, you are very correct. It was 1990. Oh, talking about the Ruben Sosa penalty, I guess. Yeah. Well, sometimes I remember. You know why I remember it because I was watching something about Ruben Sosa, or reading about it rather, and then this incident came up as well as something that marked this Uruguay career as well for in a bad way. But yeah, that's why I remember. And you say I'd argue that Uruguay team was also fantastic. Tabares is one lucky coach. Yeah, he was there as well. I mean, and we were beaten by in the last 16. I think it was Argentina, or maybe I'm wrong here. Um, or we didn't even get out of the group stage. No, we were beaten, I think, by Italy or Argentina in the last 16. Or maybe I'm messing it all up right now. But we were beaten in the last 16 anyway, which was a shame. Um, Burn Rudy, go ahead, buddy. Rest. Yeah, a couple of minutes more and then I will. But thanks, man. Thanks for being here as well. Um, Danny F says, after Suarez and Cavani, we have young strikers like Darwin, Satriano, Canario Alvarez, and Arezzo. Also, guys in Uruguay, Franco Fagundes with Nacional and Thiago Borbas from River Plate Montevideo. Yeah, I mean, you are naming them right now. Um, it's impressive, when I'm naming them after you send it to me. It's impressive, the talent, and what is even more impressive is that I can even think of one or two more who you didn't mention, because the options are big. And yeah, Satriano could become a player like, let's say, Joaquin Dice. I'm just saying something stupid. Will not happen, but you know what I mean. He can go completely off the rails, not fulfill his potential, but it's football. Overall, if you just look at the options right now, it's so healthy, so good. And that's so exciting. Ken Johnson says, "How do we describe from an old guy?" Well, I think it should be if you're watching the video right now, just on browser or on an iPhone or whichever phone, you should see a subscribe button below the video. It should be there, and otherwise, you can also message me on Twitter, Kent, and I'm sure I will certainly help you out. Hope you're doing well, by the way, Kent. Good to see you here. Um, Jorge, enjoy the match, Yuli. Yeah, so, but the thing is, the game against Iran, there's no people allowed. Yeah, media is allowed, but not supporters, and that's really a shame. Yeah, I'm not sure why it is, by the way. Argentina beat Uruguay in 1968 in Mexico. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, I forgot which one it was in 1990. And Matias Gonzalez, we beat Germany in the 1928 Olympics. Yes, and I think we mentioned it as well. Let's have a look. Germany, yeah, Bernarodi in 1924. He says. Well, anyway, yeah, so our record against them is not completely negative, but the picture that was described with the recent appearances is that it's going to be a tough game. But so is Spain, hypothetically. So yeah, we can wonder or guess or have a philosophy about this, how this is going to go, but we don't know. We will see. It's already been said, but the white kid is not good, says Jorge. No, that is true, and Nicolas also agrees with you. It's terrible. Hope they don't put the crest in the middle for the home kit. Yeah, I mean, Puma, although they sometimes produce really nice shirts or nice training wear, they also, certainly in recent years, they come up with just like crap, just enormous crap, which should not be allowed. I mean, if for example, if you're Alonso, if you're a player, or even if you are on the AOF board, which we all know are really sometimes a waste of time, but even if you're one of them, you can see this, and if you have any idea about the footballing world or about the perception of the fans, you can understand that no, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. Come up with something else. Go back in your lab. Go invent something else. And please, if you do this, don't make the same design for every national team you produce for, because that's the way it is. Serbia is like also an atrocious kit, atrocious shirt, and it's similar to ours. So the creativity they have is like non-existent, and that's a shame. So yeah. And yeah, so Julie says the game will be closed doors, but Bratislava is not far from here, so hoping to see them there. Oh, that's great. Hopefully you can do that. And like I said, please message me, and then I will message on Twitter or have a post on Twitter to hopefully help you get in contact with fellow Uruguayans or fellow Uruguay fans like myself, to get along or watch the game together, whatever. In Vienna or in Bratislava. So yeah, No, okay. So I think it's a good point to end the stream. Almost 1 hour and 50 minutes. It's been nice as always. We discussed a lot. Look back at this weekend's action, last weekend's action, and now it's time to look forward to the games against Iran and Canada. So I will be back for sure in a couple of days when Uruguay play with a preview and a review. Hopefully, Alessandro can be there as well. My intention is to contact him to be on with me, and also in the future he will certainly be on more. This last few streams was more like an impulsive or yeah, an impulsive thing. So I just thought, why shouldn't I go live? Or I would was thinking I want to go live in a couple of hours and I do it, but that's why Alessandro was not there. But yeah, best is Alessandro. I think is really good to have of because of his insight, and obviously because he's a nice guy. So yeah, we will be back probably together if he's free to do for the game. And yeah, hopefully we can enjoy it, and hopefully we will win, or anyway, we will see some nice football. That's hopefully the case. So yeah, Everyman, Dan, thank you for the stream. Thank you, man. Thanks that you were here, and with some, I think one comment, but it doesn't matter anyway. It was a good comment, and even if you haven't commented and just listened or used it as a background noise while you were doing the living room or whatever, it's also good. I'm all fine with this. So yeah, thank you all for being here, and I will see you very soon when La Celeste returns. Okay, bye bye.